Welcome to Tsuji This Week. I'm Li Wei-Tai. It's good to have you with us. And in today's headlines, Dai Radio wins a prize at the Global Chinese Radio Awards and celebrates its 24th anniversary. And Taiwan's Typhoon Morakot survivors are looking forward to moving into their new homes in Shanlin's Dai community and forming a lifelong friendship with Tsuji. First of all, a very happy birthday to Dai Radio, Tsuji's broadcasting station. It has been 24 years since Tsuji's first radio program, Tsuji's World, was aired on November 16, 1985. Back then, Tsuji didn't have its own station, and shows had to be aired on other channels. On September 1st, 2005, it began streaming online, allowing worldwide listeners to tune in. At the first Global Chinese Radio Awards, held on November 12th, Dai Radio was one of the winners. It was indeed the best present for the station's 24th birthday. Calls from home and abroad are flooding in to wish Dai Radio Station a happy birthday. Dai Radio did not have its own channel in the early days. Programs were made in advance and aired on other stations. Now it broadcasts on the internet, complete with webcams, so listeners can tune in and interact with the presenters.
Innovation, change, and creativity carried us through this day. We are constantly making changes to ensure that our programs stay interesting. We're making big strides in keeping ourselves informed, so our shows can reach more and more people.
Dai Radio's birthday surprise came a few days earlier when it received one of the most prestigious prizes at the first Global Chinese Radio Awards for the Chinese language broadcasting industry held in Beijing on November 12th. Dai Radio has come a long way. 151 entries from more than 50 radio stations worldwide have been submitted to Global Chinese Radio Awards, and after a heated race, 36 finalists emerged, with Dai Radio being one of them.
首届全球华语广播公益贡献奖，首先也是要看一看我们这个奖项的入围名单。
台湾慈济人文置业广播部选送的《真心看世界，幸福的力量》。
获得公益贡献奖的作品有台湾慈济人文置业广播部选送的《真心看世界，幸福的力量》。
Dai Radio station manager Tzu Yun takes the award and humbly says that it is the team's greatest honor to be recognized, and that Dai's presenters and the production team will continue their mission to purify human hearts.
The Social Responsibility Award belongs to Master Zhen Yin and all the Tsuji volunteers for their efforts in promoting great love across the world in the past 43 years. Also, my deepest thanks to the 11 staff at Dai Radio who have worked so hard to put the shows together.
Recognized for its contribution to society, Dai Radio will keep to its word and strive for innovative ways to enrich their shows and reach out and inspire its audience. And another good news, this week started with a landmark in Tsuji's history. Exactly 100 days after the August 8th flooding and landslides brought down by Typhoon Morakot, the groundbreaking ceremony of Tsuji's Dai community took place. Located in Kaohsiung's Shanling Township, the new community will soon be home to families from devastated regions. Builders have completed the initial groundwork, and the first 600 houses should be ready in February of next year.
Even now, 100 days after August 8th, the roads to Namxia are still down. After 5 hours of slow going, we arrive at the mainly indigenous township. The scene that greets us is tragic. Environmental experts point out that the crisis caused by Typhoon Morakot has not yet lifted.
You don't know when the next disaster will hit or how nature is going to change the situation. We are very worried that the collapsed areas have become like funnels, and when water gathers at the bottom, they may collapse again. It's terrifying.
第一禅，祈愿国泰民安。
Exactly 100 days after the 8/8 disaster, the ground is officially broken on the new Da-ai community in Shanlin Township.
When I see the panorama of the Da-ai community, my heart is touched and I feel grateful. I tell myself that the Tzu Chi Foundation's help is an extraordinary blessing.
As well as Taiwan's president, Namashia residents celebrate this moment of history with the traditional Bunong 8-part harmony. And the Tzu Chi tune, the universal three no's, is also sung in the Bunong language. The man behind the performance was Minzu villager Liu Yuanchuan, who tragically lost his son and younger brother on August 8th. He put his grief aside to train choir members. It wasn't easy. The traumatized villagers had little faith in the future and trusted no one, including the Tzu Chi volunteers who were offering them new homes.
At first, a lot of our elders, when Tzu Chi got into contact with us, were worried that Tzu Chi would drag us into their religion. But after getting to know each other over time, we understood that Tzu Chi didn't discriminate between religions.
Designed to preserve the culture and faith of the villagers, the Da-ai community includes 2 churches, a traditional art workshop, and an indigenous school. These steel frames can resist force 17 winds and magnitude 8 earthquakes. They're guaranteed to last for 50 years. The homes come in different sizes for small and large families and are well ventilated and insulated, making them warm in winter and cool in summer. Consultations were held to make sure the victims got the community they needed. And many of the survivors are being paid to build their own homes in a disaster recovery work scheme. One of them is Minzu villager Dahu.
If you are depressed for one day, it's one more day of depression. So why not be happy for a day?
Typhoon Morakot victims are happy they will be moving into their new, sustainable community very soon. The first 600 homes should be completed by February of next year.
Tzu Chi's permanent housing communities, also known as Da-ai villages, have given many disaster victims a future. Whether it is the one that is currently being built for Typhoon Morakot victims in Taiwan or the ones for the Asian tsunami survivors in Sri Lanka, the communities are constructed with the residents' needs as top priority. In our Tzu Chi Earth feature, we travel to the war-torn Sri Lanka to revisit the catastrophic tsunami in 2004.
The country of Sri Lanka is a beautiful and ancient land. As early as the 2nd century BC, Buddhism has already been introduced in Sri Lanka. However, during the 1800s, due to the colonists' import of workers from southern India, Hinduism was also established. So, with Sri Lanka becoming a multi-ethnic, multi-religious population, conflicts and differing views began to surface. In 1983, the Tamil of Sri Lanka, Orthodox Hindus, formed the separatist organization, or the Tamil Tigers. The Tiger Skulls is the creation of an independent Tamil state on Sri Lanka. This has led to a 25-year civil war. Because of the continued instability, many have felt little hope for any end to the violence, and it has been hard for people to muster the will to improve their lives. In this war-torn country, the civilians have suffered great violence from all sides. On January 1st, 2009, the Sri Lankan army made an advance, escalating the fight against the Tamil Tigers. There were many casualties. An estimated 200,000 people were displaced from their homes, and entire communities destroyed. Such suffering is truly unspeakable. Later, on May 16th, the Sri Lankan president announced victory over the Tamil Tigers. So for now, the civil war has come to an end. Though the war has ended, for the many people who have been displaced or who have lost their loved ones, the way to recovery remains a long one.
这都是呢，因为人心不调啦，那这个一念恶升起来，那就是烽火连天呐！看这种的战争，都是因为呢少数人的一念恶，争政权，所以才会造成那么多无辜人呐，而且呢，整个国家的经济呀，都完全呢衰退。
In Sri Lanka, many have witnessed the spirit of universal love. When a 9.3 magnitude earthquake occurred on December 26, 2004, it triggered a series of tsunamis that affected Indonesia's Aceh, Sri Lanka, and many other areas. It killed more than 225,000 people and destroyed countless houses. Since then, Tzu Chi volunteers have brought aid to the disaster victims of Sri Lanka. With everyone's love and effort, a rebuilding project was immediately launched.
Yes, please give your big hand.
April 10, 2006 was a sunny day at Hambantota, Sri Lanka. This was where the handover ceremony for the Dai village and its groundbreaking ceremony were held. The crowd applauded loudly as the lion dance troupe went on stage. For many, it was the first time in their lives that these tsunami victims had witnessed the Chinese performance. Sri Lankan Agriculture Minister Mr. Kamel Rahabaska officiated the Dai village's handover and groundbreaking ceremony. The dream to have a home, as for these families, finally became a reality. Glad to have survived the disaster, victims of the tsunami have developed an unbreakable bond, setting aside hatred for love. As their vitality strengthens, songs of their rebirth are blossoming on the streets. Located in Sri Bopura, Hambantota, the Dai village is comprised of some 1,000 residences. Each household consists of 2 bedrooms, 1 living room, 1 dining room, 1 kitchen, and a toilet. After the Dai village was built, the Dai community soon emerged, including a secondary school, Dai assembly hall, a community center, a healthcare clinic, a vocational training center, and a neighborhood center. The Tzu Chi National School accommodates a maximum of 920 students and includes modern facilities such as a computer classroom and a laboratory. The school was inaugurated in January 2008 after a year of construction. Not forgetting their medical missions for the country, Tzu Chi set up a free clinic post. Teams of doctors, nurses, and volunteers came from Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, USA, and Canada, with more than tens of thousands of local Sinhs benefiting from their medical care.
Thankful to Tzu Chi Foundation to build this school for Sri Lanka, because this is a poor country, and we are very much grateful to Tzu Chi Foundation. And actually, I realized Tzu Chi Foundation is very different from other organizations. That's why I joined with as a volunteer.
Tzu Chi did a lot of things for those people, and I also like to contribute for any little.
2 very special cases were the young scoliosis patients, Madushi and Mathusi. Their encounter with Tzu Chi meant a fresh start for the 2. Both Mathushi and Madushi's scoliosis had reached a stage where their backs were badly hunched. But thanks to Tzu Chi's arrangements, they were able to fly from Sri Lanka to Malaysia to receive treatment. Upon their return, the whole village was in a festive spirit, setting the intrepid girls at ease. A celebration was arranged that eventually spilled into the yard. It was a beautiful night that bubbled with the warmth of villagers. As song filled the air, the warm and harmonious atmosphere in and around the Dai village is indicating the light at the end of the tunnel. The tsunami may have destroyed many houses and broken up many families, but it has also brought love and hope. Let us pray that the love planted in the Dai village will flourish further, with a ceaseless flow of hope blooming long into the future.
Over to South Africa, in April 2009, Tzu Chi's US headquarters spearheaded a nationwide South Africa book drive. Over 70,000 books and stationery supplies were donated and shipped to South Africa. Tzu Chi volunteers and Ladysmith worked with the Ministry of Education and distributed the books to 6 happy schools.
The necessary things found on Mr. Smut's table include Tzu Chi's bamboo coin bank and a small book of Jing's aphorisms, which he shares with the faculty on a weekly basis.
I must say that the feedback I get from the community is very positive.
The principal thinks the master's teachings are so valuable that anyone driving by the school in Ladysmith will easily notice them a mile away. Mr. Smut is very diligent about changing the sayings once every 2 weeks, and people have even called in to learn more of the origins of Jing's aphorisms. Thanks to the combined charitable efforts of Tzu Chi volunteers in the United States and South Africa, children in 6 schools have been able to broaden their learning through donated books.
Yeah, you see it's got small little books in for the babies. Yeah. Oh, it's so sweet. This is very nice, right? This is very, very expensive. This is very nice.
Seeing the token of love sent from abroad, the students can hardly believe it. Principal Smut, whose school has been short on budget, said if the phone call had not come from a government official, he would have thought it was a prank. He says he would make sure the children know the books come from the heart.
Master Zheng Yan's Jingsi aphorisms are food for thought for many people, as we shall see in US Tzu Chi 360, brought to you by Johnny Chang.
Greetings from US Tzu Chi 360. I'm Johnny Chang. Today, we take you to New York to follow the footprints of our New York volunteers while they promote Jing's aphorism from Master Zheng Yan in the streets of New York. Starting from January 1st of 2009 till today, New York Tzu Chi volunteers have worked restlessly in the past year promoting Jing's aphorisms to the streets of Flushing, Lower Manhattan Chinatown, and Brooklyn. Nearly 200 stores across New York City have Jing's aphorism posters. Through this exposure, Jing's aphorism eases into each person's heart day by day as a peaceful revolution, changing the world silently.
Calling or personally visiting the source, Tzu Chi volunteers distribute the wisdom of Jing's aphorisms into the community. Located in Flushing, Queens, this bakery was the first shop that put on the Jing's aphorism posters. Posters are silently hung on the walls, and quietly they brought changes.
This is not only talking about ourselves, but also talking about everyone. Some tell us that, for example, not to gossip. Mouths are good for eating and not gossiping. We must constantly be aware and remind ourselves.
Tzu Chi volunteer Xi Jingzhe recalls the first time she discussed with the store owner about Jing's aphorisms posters. They got enthusiastic responses, so they got more confidence.
I said, I asked you, which store do you own? He said, the store I own is right here. Then I said, we are coming to post Jing's aphorisms. He said, you are always welcome. A good beginning makes half of the success.
Therefore, since January 1st, 2009, volunteers have changed different posters for the stores every 2 weeks. Thinking about Jingse aphorisms helps to change a person's thoughts.
Once in a while, we get upset. Reading this, it will let you feel peaceful.
Change happens in our busy life without being noticed.
I always lift up my head and read it. Collecting our thoughts from the past is the right attitude to life. I know, I sometimes get mad, but I have to learn to control myself. Never get angry. Being angry hurts not only ourselves, but also hurts others too. Although the person is generous, a bad mouth will hurt people too.
Look, you have to read. Read it if you get angry. Read this one, you won't be angry anymore. When I want to yell at someone, I read it, then I'm not angry anymore. Sometimes, when you post this, the customers want to write it down. I said, you don't need to write it down. I will make a copy for you. I always copy and give it to the others. Hope you can open your mind. Sometimes you don't like to give. You will love to give after reading this. You gain from giving.
And the wisdom of the Jingse aphorisms follows the volunteers' steps across the East River from Queens to Manhattan and Brooklyn. 1 year has passed. A total of almost 200 stores have responded to posting the Jingse aphorisms in the 3 boroughs of New York City. Having lived in downtown Manhattan for 40 years, 76-year-old Chen Ying-Yuen and many other store owners have become old friends.
Okay. I've known her for a long time.
Mrs. Chen brought you a great Jingse aphorism today.
Wishing everyone good health.
Holding a cane, walking street to street, Chen Ying-Yuen leads volunteers through Chinatown, bringing the teachings of Dharma Master Zheng Yan into Manhattan.
Dai TV will film you. Today, I lead all of Chinatown.
In order to ensure the posters will stick on every storefront window, the volunteers prepared detergent and rags. Before posting, they clean up the windows thoroughly.
See, we help clean their windows. That's also good merit. As we sweep, we are not just sweeping. We are also cleaning our own hearts. It's the same with these windows. Very beautiful and solemn. Brothers, you, I'm here to lead the way. It's really good. This is also very good.
Wonderful.
We still have a long way to go. When we get old and are not able to do this, it is the young people's turn.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Seeing Jingse aphorism posters appear on every corner in the Big Apple, we wish its wisdom will shine on everybody's heart and bring peace and happiness.
In celebration of the 20th anniversary of the first book of Jingse aphorisms, Tzu Chi volunteers are putting together a musical production on Sunday nights at Hong Kong Polytechnic University. That's all we have time for today. See you next week.